Hello, Chuck Tomlin here with Advanced Tennis Foundation and some techniques that we work with congruent tennis model, or CTM. Today what we're going to focus on is comparing the draw and the fade. To break out these two shots, I think congruent tennis is the first to document the difference between fading the ball and drawing the ball, and the difference of the fundamentals and techniques that are involved. Okay, I'd like to introduce Gianni Frausto here. He's with Topspin Tennis, as this video is. We're working together on this project. He's going to be our model here to demonstrate both the fade and the draw as we talk about some of the variations that are involved in that. Feed, so that the ball will be able to drop, which is really conducive to hitting a nice draw and getting a lot of good spin on the ball. So I'll give him a little easy feed like this, and he can really get to the outside of the ball, and the ball will tend to draw back toward the middle of his stroke. Another one there, you can feel the drop, and you can see how it's good for hitting angles. And then now he's going to take one where he works it up right up the line here. Same kind of thing. He's got a little low ball here and he wants to work it up the line. Beautiful. Here's the draw used in a little bit more of a drive version. There you go. All right, as you saw there with those draws previously, the contact height was either on the low side, it's dropping, or the norm. So normal to low with a dropping ball. Now we're going to demonstrate how with the fade it's better for higher balls and taking balls more on the rise instead of a dropping ball. Nice. Very good. Now you notice here with these fade drives that the balls are more of a drive. It's a flatter shot. The trajectory is very linear, and there's a lot more power and through the court. Okay, what you may have noticed there, the difference between the fade and the draws, those fades were very driving through the court, good penetration, very flat trajectory. Whereas you notice the draws had more shape, up and down, more spin. We call them lift and spins. We refer to the fades generally as more of a drive shot. And here's another example just to let you see the draw with its lift and spin. That's a nice high one there. We'll go, there we go. And then here's that fade with a real strong drive. Yeah.
Nice. Chuck, that's phenomenal information. Like, I know about that, but there's a lot of people out there that aren't aware of this information. It's so valuable, and it's helped our games out a ton. On that draw, right, the ball's below the net. Generally below the net. Usually we're coming up, especially if it's like this mid-court attack that you talk about. Where are we aiming? Where are we trying to put that ball? What's the idea behind that? Where do we want to put it to inflict damage to our partner, our opponent?
That's a really neat thing about this game is we really only have 3 targets that we're generally going to, and it's either going to be your first, second, and third smart targets. Now your cross court in this case would have been the first smart target, which would be down the line would have encompassed the second smart target. And you can also use this shot to dip it right into the body and attack the player directly on and try to dip it into their feet, their knees, or shins. So just a little plug for John Carpenter there. He and I collaborated on a book called Modern Tennis Instruction, and we have a lot on the smart targets and the fade and draw in that book.
Yeah, no, great stuff. The other thing too to keep in mind is, like, as far as racket head speed, Gianni did a nice job. You could really see him shaping that ball, make it bend. How much racket head speed do you want? Are you hitting at 100% of your racket head speed accelerator? Is it 70? What's that number? What determines that?
That's one of the good examples of differences between the fade and the draw. When you're hitting that draw, you're going to probably go anywhere from 80% to 100 on your racket head speed. You're going to really accelerate that racket to get that whipping bend on the spin. On the other hand, when you go to the fade, you're probably going to be reduced power a little bit. You're probably only going to hit more like 65 to 90%. So you're going to probably hit in a lower range because it doesn't require near as much power to get even a bigger result, even a faster ball.
Right, right. And going to that fade, right? So we're looking to maybe compress and release a little more, compress and that gives you that extra power, correct? On the fade, or are you trying to take the same amount of ball as you would with the draw?
Well, we actually do try to get a little more into the ball.
Yep.
You know, we're not trying to skin it as much, so to speak. And so we're trying to get a little more into the ball. But the other thing is, usually we're hitting these fades. They're usually off a rising ball or a ball at the apex, where the ball still has a lot of energy in it. So we don't have to produce all the energy. A lot of the ball energy is still in the ball. And so it's more of a timing shot. Now, one other distinction I forgot to mention earlier, it's pretty important. When we say fade or draw, a lot of people get really hung up on what's the result. Is it fading? Is it drawing? The real determination here is the spin. It may or may not actually fade or draw, depending on how fast you hit it, how fast your spin is. If you don't get a high spin rate, you know, it may not actually curve that much.
Right.
You know, and the faster you hit it, the less it's going to curve. So what we determine as a fade and draw is the technique itself, along with the spin that it elicits. So if you're getting for a right-handed forehand, and your spin is on the outside of the ball coming this way, then that's going to be a draw because you're getting draw spin. If you come in for a power fade and you're hitting off the inside like you do with an inside-out forehand, you're going to get spin here, like a screwball in baseball. You're going to get that type spin. We call it diagonal topspin. And it's going to be on the other side so that it fades out. That's why we call it a fade. But it may or may not actually fade. So let's don't get too hung up on the result. It's more about the process.
Got it. All right, very good. That's Chuck Tomlin, John Frelst with Topspin Tennis. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. You know that I have a Topspin newsletter, and if you subscribe to it, you're going to get my next gen forehand blueprints. Click the link below, throw in your email address, you get access to the newsletter, which I send out every month. And you're going to get the next gen forehand blueprint. 10 pages of quality information. Enjoy.